Okay. All right. Well, welcome everybody to Pitch Anything Thursday. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. Make sure I have sound enabled. There we go. And this is facilitated by Jay Goth. So go ahead and take it away, Jay.
Well, welcome everybody. Thanks for joining us again for Pitch Anything Thursday. As you know, this is a series based upon Oren Klaff, the gentleman who wrote Pitch Anything. And he's got a very straightforward approach to how to pitch anything, whether you're selling a customer, selling an investment, pitching your company to investors. It could be just about anything, even like trying to get the PTA to agree with you on something that you want done. So what we do is we share a little video clip every month. It's usually 5 or 6 minutes. And Oren talks about a certain aspect of pitching. And today he's going to talk about how to establish rapport. And I really liked this. It hit home for me because I used to do a lot of selling over the phone. And the first thing every phone person does is pick up the phone and say, "Oh, Mr. Jones, how are you today?" And Mr. Jones knows that he doesn't know who you are, and he knows that you don't care how he is. But almost every salesman asks me that question when they call me, and it just bothers me to no end. I'll say, "Why do you care? What do you want?" So with that, we'll go ahead and kick off the video, and we'll take it from there.
I really feel like you should come work here. This is a great place to work. It's so easy unless you touch my pen, finish the coffee and don't replace it, go anywhere near my car, or talk loudly while I'm on the phone. Or, most importantly, if I hear you talking about the weather at the beginning of a client acquisition call, you're out. So like I said, this is a great place to work. Very friendly. We're nice people. But why am I so sensitive to you getting on a call in my office, in my business, and asking a client what the weather is in New York, Florida, Chicago, Texas, Canada, Monaco, London? Well, one, you already know what the weather is there. You have the internet, so it's not a real question. It's not authentic. And two, it is validation-seeking behavior. You want to know that they like you, that the conversation is going smoothly, that there's an upbeat tone before you start talking about anything that has high stakes or risky or is interesting. To break it down more simply, when you start talking about the weather or sports or something that doesn't matter, just to get the conversation rolling along and have some repertoire, what you're really trying to do is generate rapport. But this is not how rapport is generated. And I'll give you an example. Right back to that in that room, as I've said many times, is about 20 motorcycles, right? It's 20 of the most iconic magazine cover motorcycles of all time. So people come in here and eventually they discover there's a motorcycle museum back in the office. And then they'll say something. You know, when I was in college, I used to drive a Honda CB360T. Why? In order to make a connection, sort of generate more rapport and sort of impute that we're similar in some way. However, it just happens to be that the Honda CB360T is one of the worst motorcycles ever made. College kids bought them because they had no money. They were sold cheaply, and they didn't have anything else to do with their time but repair them. That is not a motorcycle that I'm interested in. The point is, every subject, even though it seems like a niche, football, soccer, weather, fishing, sports, politics, you try and make a loose connection with somebody. Oh, you like fishing? You like snowboarding? You like skiing? I ski. Where do you ski? Oh, you go to Vail. We go to Whistler, right? What do you ski? Downhill, slalom? You're an intermediate, advanced, you black diamond, triple black diamond. You go 2 days a year. You go 238 days a year. You own a place on Whistler that you ski from. You ski sometimes, but snowboard sometimes. You never even skied before. Just because they ski and you ski doesn't mean that you are actually going to get rapport. In fact, most of the time, when somebody says they've been fishing or skiing or snowboarding or parasailing or surfing or like the Dallas Cowboys or like college football or collect baseball cards or whatever it is, and you try and relate your experience to them, you get it wrong and you are generating reverse rapport. And they're going, you don't know anything about what I do. And it's a little bit embarrassing. But your mind tells you, I want them to like me. Why does your mind tell you that? Because you don't know what else to do at the beginning of a call. People don't want to know that you've done some similar activity to them. What they want to know is that you're an expert in your field, that this call is going to improve their situation and understanding of their problems, and you're going to help them out, and it's not going to cost a lot, and it's going to happen quickly, and they're with great certainty. If they choose to work with you, you're going to deliver on what you say you know how to do. That's what they came to the call for, not to discuss the weather or motorcycles or surfing. You get rapport not by talking about their subject, but by having them trust you. Where does trust come from? Oh, okay. Well, let's spend another 3 hours discussing that, but let's not. Let's make it real simple. Trust initially comes from just a few easy things that you can start doing today and tomorrow. One, that you know how to run a business call in the culture that we live in. Time is important. If they brought people to the call, time is especially important. You're obeying the boundaries of time. Understanding their problem is critical. Having done background understanding, so you don't have to waste time on things that you can get from their website, things you can get from LinkedIn, things you can get from the documents they sent you, things you can get from the email or people that you know in common. You've invested a few minutes to do the background work. Oh, now we're building trust. Then you relate to them. This is how we got here, and this is my understanding of the situation, and this is how I view the kind of problem you're having. Give me a few more details, and let's try and get somewhere. Frame out a box to at least say you have this kind of problem and solutions exist that we know about and would like to help you with. That is how you start to build solid trust with people. And trust builds what? Of course, rapport. Surfing, cigars, football, knitting, race car driving, kinds of beer that you like, restaurants you've been to, hiking, computer games, 80 trivia, none of that, no matter how much you discuss it, builds trust into the relationship. And rapport really is another word for trust. So ignore your instincts to try and relate to them at the beginning. Be polite, be courteous, focus on time, and build trust that you care about their problem and that you have a solution. That to me is going to improve everything about your business. Faster conversion, have people like you more, have people trust you more, have higher price points, less discounting, and make everything work a lot smoother. Join me this Friday for talking about, for a full hour, one topic: how to start a meeting and build trust immediately. This will make a big difference in everything you do. I'll see you this Friday. Click the link below to join Pitch Mastery and get in. And I'm just wondering, what is the weather out there right now?
So there's a lot to unpack from that. I mean, there was a lot of stuff in that 6 minutes.
Yeah, definitely.
So first of all, overall impressions, Gabriel, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it makes a lot of sense. Just like, trying to build rapport with some baloney, it's not going to work. And, you know, like he was saying, they want to know that you're an expert and that, they got that you can bring value to them, I think is what he's saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it makes perfect sense. I think it's so overdone. The, hey, how you doing? This kind of BSing type of sales pitch type of stuff, I don't think works anymore.
I agree. I think, with the internet, we can go on LinkedIn, find out what their interests are, and then we can glom onto one of their interests to try and build rapport. But, I agree with him. I think when you try and do something like that without, let's be friends. No, this is a business call. I think Zoom takes it to another level, because when you're on a Zoom call, you're kind of face to face. You're doing a call with somebody, and one of the things that really annoys me is when you get a Zoom call with like 5 people, and everyone wants to do an introduction of themselves, and they spend like 5 minutes talking about themselves, and it's like, this is not pertinent to the call that we're having. You don't need to build, it's not building credibility. What it's doing is boring everybody. And, I've talked to my partners about that when we're on Zoom calls, and I tell them, introductions are great, but find one piece of information that is pertinent to the conversation and that establishes you as an expert in what you're doing, and then cut it. And don't spend a lot of time talking about, how you like to do this and how you like to do that, and, the places you've lived and this. And I mean, I hear all kinds of stuff that's like, why are you telling me this? Well, we don't even know each other. Michael, what do you think?
Well, I think that it's very, very true that you have to establish the trust, especially nowadays, I think, because you can get all the background information you didn't used to be able to get because of the internet and because of all of the social media that's out there. So you don't have to waste people's time. Go into it and give them the facts and let them understand that you know what you're talking about. I can help you start a new business.
Excellent.
I'm going to give you. Now, you ask me the questions and I'll give you my report back as to my expertise in that area.
So, one of the things that you do very well, Michael, because we've been in lots of meetings together, is you've spent very little time talking about what you've done, but you do establish a sense of credibility because you talk about, just one aspect of your background, whether it was in retail or how you started, something and built it over a period of time, but it's always quick and to the point. And I think one of the things that people just don't value enough is other people's time. I mean, it's really important. One of the things Oren does in his book is he says, you have to frame your conversation in a way that makes them realize that not only do you value your time, but your time is important too. And so what he'll usually do is say, I know we scheduled 45 minutes for this call, but really, I think we can get this done in 30 minutes. Let's just cut to the chase and start talking about what we're doing. And something like that, people appreciate. They're like, wow, this guy wants to get something done. And I think people appreciate that.
I always ask my clients in particular, because they have a tendency to go on and on and on and tell me a lot of things that I don't really care about. I ask them to send me an agenda. What are the 5 key points you want to cover in this hour Zoom call? How am I going to help you? And how, when we get off of this call, will you feel better about what you do? And I have found that to be effective in asking for their agenda. It cuts out all the stuff and you can get right to the point.
Yeah.
You don't have to do all the niceties in the beginning, et cetera, et cetera. And of course, sometimes you get labeled as being insensitive, but it's not being insensitive. I'm not wasting your time.
Right.
Time's valuable too. If
Yeah.
I give you a homework assignment to do in business, you better do it. If you don't do it, why didn't you do it? And if you're not going to do it, there are other people out there that you can call and ask for help with. And maybe they've got more time than I do. And I am insensitive that way, but I always have been in business straight to the point. And that develops some trust from some people, and it creates a rapport.
And honestly, if you turn somebody off by being direct and honest, then it's probably somebody you're going to end up either not wanting to work with or starting to work with and then regretting that you ever took them on as a client.
That is correct. That is correct. I would rather be direct and to the point in the beginning to understand how they receive that, to understand whether they'll become whether there will be a rapport that we can establish between us that's going to be productive for them as well as me. Because I want to get something out of it also.
Yep. Agreed.
I want to learn from you as you're going to learn from me.
A lot of this hits home for me because, I made a living for quite a while on the telephone, selling investments to people that I never met. And getting somebody to send you 25 to 100 to $250,000 in the mail that they've never met before, you don't do it by establishing some kind of false rapport. You do it by getting to their needs and why they would want to do it. And I was spectacularly unsuccessful for a long time because I kept making friends on the telephone. And I was finding out more about them, talking about their problems, their kids, and then I talked to them the next week. And finally, what turned for me was when I realized, you know, my manager, my boss, finally clicked the switch on me, and he said, Jay, they don't care about any of that stuff. They care if you're going to be able to help them make an investment that's going to have the potential to make them a lot of money. And they also want to know that they could risk everything and lose all their money in this investment. If you're honest with them and you tell them the good and the bad, then you're going to get somewhere. And that, when I started doing that and stopped selling and started telling, then all of a sudden things just turned around 100%. But it was this whole thing that Oren's talking about trying to establish rapport and no, you need to establish trust.
Yeah, I mean, I went through 17 different financial advisor interviews before I found somebody that I could trust that was going to give me a return on my investment, be able to let me retire comfortably, and develop a strategy that we would put in place over a 10-year period of time, starting in 2007. And but it took me 17 people to get to that point of them wanting to be my friend rather than giving me, what are they going to do for me? How am I going to get from you what you need? Just like, how am I going to, if I'm going to send you $250,000, what's my ROI? What am I going to get back from you? And what are the 5 major points that you're going to give me? I like the 5 major things. I'm stuck on that for some reason, because people can usually think about 5 things that are specific that you can then develop the trust and rapport from.
Any other points that Oren made that resonate with anybody? Heather, Hilder, Gabriel?
No, I don't got anything to add at this point.
Okay. Well, hopefully we all took away something from this. I know it always reinforces to me when I hear Oren talk, and I when I can, I go to his Friday meetings. I'm a member of his pitch mastery group. And it's pretty cool because every Friday he just gets on the Zoom call and he talks to people about different subjects every week. Or sometimes he'll just take questions from people and talk about what they're doing. But I think Pitch Anything is a great resource. Hopefully everyone can use it, and I appreciate your tuning in.
Hey, Jay, what is going to be the topic for the 3-minute Monday?
I think what we're going to do, Michael, is dive in on one particular aspect. So I talked about WAC last time.
Right.
What you do, how you do it, are you sure, and can you do it?
Yeah, the 4 major points.
Yeah, I think what we'll do is focus in on one of those.
Okay.
Like we talked about what do you do last time. I think what we want to do is dive more into how do you do that, and how do you get to the real nuts and bolts of how do you do that? Because sometimes it's easy to say, well, we do this, but no, how do you do that? Oh, well, we have to do this. Well, how do you do that? And when you start peeling back the layers of the onion, all of a sudden you realize that what you've been telling people you do is not really what you do. You do something completely different. So yeah. I think that's the teaser for 3-minute Monday.
When did you feel that you became successful in your pitches?
I still think I have yet to be successful.
Really?
I mean, I've raised a lot of money and I've done a lot of things, but I don't think I've reached my success level yet.
Interesting.
I know I've always got things to learn, and that's why I attend Oren's things. I go to webinars just like you, Michael. I mean, we're at a point in our lives where, you know, we could say, well, I've done what I want to do, but we're always learning, right?
That's constantly what I'm doing. I meant as much as I've experienced in business, as much as I experienced personally, I'm still learning. And I'm still enjoying the aspects of learning something that I can apply that's to reality. And the more you keep your mind open to learning, the better off you get as far as results from what you do.
Right. Now, there's always something new. I mean, there's always a different angle to everything. And I try, it's like you say, you got to keep an open mind, because it's easy to get locked into a certain thing and say, no, this is the way we do it. But as long as you're open, then different ideas take shape. And all of a sudden you realize, wow, my life could be a lot easier if I just adopted this.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I mean, being on the planning commission this time around, for the second time around, is a learning experience. I meant, you go in thinking about something because you've done the research on it, you understand what the issues are, and then you get into the meeting, and then you have some public comments, and you really have to learn and listen to what their thoughts are regarding a certain situation that may or may not change your mind.
right. You can't go in with your decision already made.
No,
I mean, you have an idea of where you're going, but you're open to other avenues.
right.
One thing that I did want to go back to on Oren's thing real quick is a lot of time is wasted on these calls with you asking people questions that you should already know the answers to. And nothing bothers me more than getting on a call with a salesperson who says, so what does Marietta Genomics do? And it's like, you're trying to sell me and you don't even know anything about my company. You know, we have a website. And if you don't just do your due diligence, then I'm not going to be doing business with you no matter what.
No, I meant it's like looking for a position or a job. Way back when I did look for one, I always visited the companies that I was interviewing with to understand what the current employees thought about the business. I watched them park their car. I watched them walk into the building. I sat in the reception area. I did all that research to understand who I was going to be meeting with and have that background in case it ever came up during the process. But many times the questions would come up and I'd say, oh yes, this is what you know, and I would give my spiel as to what I thought their company was. And many times I was right on, and it helped me land a position. I'm also a fact-based person. I like the facts. I don't like the BS.
Yeah, I think we all know that. All right. Well, let's call a lid, and we'll see everybody hopefully in a month.
All right. See you on Monday.
Thanks, Heather.
See you
Thanks,
guys.
Hilda.
Hey,
Bye, Gabriel.
hey, Michael, did you get my text?
No, I didn't.
I was asking you, you got a few minutes